Is there anything that has stopped in your life, in your personal life, because we lost the general?
No.
That's the question we should be asking ourselves before we go in to attack the son. You've not deleted a contact from your phone book. Get to know you are actually not in his shoes. I don't know why the nation, we are really forcing Joel to grieve the dad as a military officer. In rare occasion, after the burial, you will find someone calling and asking, since the burial, since the funeral, how are you feeling?
Do you need somebody? A shoulder you can lean on when you're not strong. We're here for you, Allsmiles Therapy. Hi guys, and welcome back to Allsmiles Therapy YouTube channel. This is mental fitness with the 𝐂𝐨𝐬𝐬. I'm sorry, mnauliza kwapi 𝐂𝐶𝐶𝐂𝐶𝐶, where are you? He's just here. He's just within. He's just around. So he'll be joining us not today, but probably some few days later. He's going to join us. And I've told you guys to subscribe. Subscribe, subscribe, like, comment, share, and let everyone else benefit from these talks that we've been having. And by the way, we've had other episodes before. Go back, and you might find something that is going to help you and your family, your friends, your relatives. Yeah, because here is all about talking and helping each other. Today I want us to tackle something that has been going on. But before we go there, help me welcome our therapist, Teresa.
Wow, what to say after such a magic introduction, you know? So thank you, and good to be here again.
Yes,
okay, thank you for hosting me.
Karibu sana.
Yes,
and
we are ready.
Yes. You keep saying matching up with my energy is you have given up.
I have given up.
Yeah. So thank you so much for being our therapist.
Most welcome.
Thank you so much for even talking to our fans out here. So many of them have benefited, and I know you know that. Wengi wao wame benefit, wengi wao wame wakisema wanataka kukuja therapy.
Sure.
Yeah, so I have to take that opportunity and welcome you.
Thank you.
Yeah, for those viewers who don't know you, kindly introduce yourself and Allsmiles Therapy.
Okay, I'm Teresa 𝐂𝐨𝐬𝐞𝐟, a psychologist at Allsmiles Therapy Center. We are based in Westland, and Allsmiles is a mental health facility. So we start with counseling from kids age of 4 years, teens, adults, couples, groups, workplace, mental wellness and resilience, plus leadership intelligence. And yes, we also have a rehabilitation and treatment center, so we are an all-round center for mental health facility, not even to forget to mention our training, diploma and certificate courses done by TVET. TVET is the examining body, in psychology. Yeah,
I think I should push it further, guys. Here at Allsmiles Therapy, we have a rehabilitation center. What? Guys, rehabilitation center. Huku watu wanakuwaga wakitafuta rehabs, but I am here to tell you that Allsmiles Therapy Center, they also have a rehabilitation center where you can bring your loved one. They'll be taken care of, they will be loved, they will be helped. And I know you will see a difference in this one. Sindo?
Oh yes, you'll be able to see and identify. So yes, we have a rehabilitation and treatment center. We focus on drugs and addiction, as well as any other mental disorder and mental illnesses.
There's something that blew the internet. The death of General Francis, may his soul rest in peace. And the news went wild, you know. Then at some point, the son was introduced into the picture, Joel, and I could not hesitate. I could not actually wait to meet you and ask you why people have been so harsh in the internet with the guy. I was amongst the people who were somehow judging why you talking like this, why you saying this, why you saying this, why you saying this. First of all, you're aware of the death of
yes.
General.
We've lost as a nation.
Yes. And you are aware of the son, Joel.
Yes.
At first, I thought he was very brave. He was very brave. Then at some point, I realized, wait, he's grieving. He's grieving. I want us to talk about how different people grieve differently, including, was it intentional, what was happening, how he was talking, how he was expressing himself, was it normal? I just feel we need to tackle it in depth, because cyberbullying is real. Cyberbullying is real. This person has lost the father. There's a lot of bashing in the internet. The news has just been broken by bloggers, you know. Is he really mourning? Is he really mourning? Yeah.
Okay. So I'll start by saying, of course, we are very sorry for the loss, and may our CDF rest in peace. Also to the family and those close to him, may you get strength and peace at this time, and to the entire nation, because we've lost as an entire nation. So Rich, one thing about loss and grief, and in this case I would like to talk about death, is that it's very, very different. Death is experienced in very different way by different people. So death is not just waking up one day and someone has died and that's it. There is the grief that comes with it. And we say even before the grief starts, there is a lot of things that goes on. So if you look at this loss, it has taken place first very sudden. It's a very tragic and very sudden at the same time. Like you've woken up, the next minute you hear, and in reference now to Joel, is your dad is no more. And the next thing you get to learn, actually, I shared my dad with the entire nation. So everyone is mourning, you know, the entire nation. So now here comes the part of him going through this and being the son who need to be there, because remember, first, this is a nation loss. But to Joel, he has lost his dad. However, because of being out there and being a servant to the nation, there is circumstances compelling him. He also needs to go out there and address the public. It's for the first time we're getting to see and to even know the general's family, the son and the daughter, and you know the rest of the family members. So the reason as to why you've gone out to the public, first, it was not because you are prepared for it. The next thing, it's not because it's an exciting moment. The third thing, it's during the loss and grief, which means there is so much expectation of you first to stand up as a son of the nation, because your dad served the nation. Because he could have decided to just come up and maybe grieve the dad in private, but he's not given that privilege. So there is something that I would like people to know. Being a servant to the nation comes with its advantages and disadvantages. And one of the things is these people, they do not have the privilege to determine some things, especially in this case. Maybe if they were asked as a family, they could have decided to grieve and to go through even the burial ceremony in a very different way, but that's a privilege already denied from them. So you can imagine they are going through loss and they do not have the privileges of burying the dad the same way. He's the general, so even it's through the military way. So nothing, they do not have a word on it, no statement on it. Everything is as per how the state would like it to be, you know. So coming from that consideration, let's go back to loss. And why what you've said, there is a lot of bullying and all. So if we can be specific, Joel is in grief. He has lost the dad. In fact, he has not even started the journey of losing the dad. Trust you me, in a week's time or two, if it goes past that, maybe in a month's time, we'll be focusing on something else as a nation. But Joel, will still be focusing, him and the family, on the loss. In fact, they will not even have moved when it comes to loss of their dad. So we say there is stages of grief. The first one we talk about, and by the way we say follows no order. Today you can be in acceptance, tomorrow you're back to denial. And denial comes with numbness. For some people, they just go numb. They're not able to talk. Others, they even go to extreme of losing some senses, like sense of taste. They can smell. Yes, this do happen. There is also the opposite of numbness. You know, numbness is you're not talking, you're just there, kept, and you're just there. Numbness as it is, you are not feeling, you know, you're just there, you are so detached with the loss. There is also becoming so talkative in denial stage. And please note, this doesn't happen intentionally. It's unconscious way of dealing with grief. And so this is something so sudden, and the next thing is you just want to talk about it. And what we say is, let's allow people grieve the best way they know how. If Joel wants to grieve by talking about the dad, talking about the dad's, you know, coffin, talking about anything, is it possible we just allow him to be?
To just talk.
Son has just lost the dad. As a nation, we've lost a 𝐂𝐨𝐬𝐬. Ours is transactional. As much as, yes, the grief is there, people are mourning and all that, but it's replaceable. We've lost a 𝐂𝐨𝐬𝐬. In a few, I'm not so sure if so far we've appointed, another one will be appointed. It's replaceable. I don't know if you're getting. We are in grief of an office. It so happened the occupant of this office is Joel's dad. We've lost different people in one person. As we are saying, 𝐂𝐨𝐬𝐬, he's talking about his dad. I would like people to even visualize if you are in his shoes and you've lost your dad. In fact, the grief, and for some people who have gone through this, you know the grief that comes with it. You know the weight that this comes with it. You know it's the pain so unbearable, and you can see the gentleman is, you know, stable enough to even go and address the public. Of course, that comes the strength part of it, and also his way of dealing with the dad's loss. I know there is a lot of issues. Why are you defending the government? I don't know, why are you saying this? The guy is in loss. He's going through grief, and as this time someone will tell you he's under influence of loss, and the best we can do is to allow him to grieve the dad the best way possible. We've become the judge, but the question is, your dad is still there. If he's alive, Joel has lost the dad. Why don't we give them a chance to do that? At least they were not privileged to have a private ceremony. They're not privileged to even have their own, you know, because they shared their dad with us. The best we can do is at least allow them this moment to be, without being judgmental. Of course, I've seen some people saying, you know, just go 6 months later, you'll come and tell us otherwise. Yeah, not even, doesn't have to be 6 months, can be even 2 weeks later, because he is in grief. And
he hasn't probably even like digested.
In fact, the news is still news. One thing we say when we are even dealing with clients of grief, we really want to look at the period. First, our work is not to help you overcome the grief, because you need to go through the pain and process. And that's why, of course, for some people, and we have a disorder now, it's called prolonged grief disorder. I'm saying now because it was not there, it was added recently, I think around 2020. So this we diagnose from 12 months of encounter. What does that mean? That we are human beings, and it's our nature to grieve, because people have lost different attachments in one person. This case, there is the wife who has lost her husband, very different with a son and daughter who they've lost a dad, very different with a nation that we've lost an office occupant, very different with even KDF guys who have also, you know, very different with everyone. And we say when it comes to loss and grief, people grieve for different reasons. The loss of attachment. Now, just visualize what the dad means to someone. That's number one. Then number two, also as a nation, we really want things to follow a certain procedure. We've come up with a way that we expect even people how they should behave, what they should say, how, you know, the words they're supposed to use. Says who that he's supposed to be more calm than he is. Says who that he's supposed to talk less. What is he supposed to say? He has lost a dad. What else? How? Which other explanation do we need from that? You know. So when we are looking at death and the different stages, there is that time of mourning. You go through the grief. This means you must get deep into it. If it's a counseling session, we start from moments before. How did you learn the news? How was it for you? Now we start going step by step until the burial. You can imagine in this case, even how did you learn the news? On social media. And then from there, after learning that in a very traumatizing way, then after learning that, they've never been given time to break, no time to breathe. You go to any main media stream, talking about the dad. You go to social media about the dad. Like, at what point are these people given time to grieve? I'll tell you for sure, if maybe they are open or if they are to be asked, you will learn that they're still not yet there. They're expecting the dad would call, the dad would come back. Maybe until first the nation slows on it, that's when now the real grief will kick in. Yeah.
When we began, you said we have stages of mourning.
Yes.
Can we go through them?
Yes. Denial, the first one, I've talked about numbness. And in denial, it comes in different ways. Some people, they're numb, others, they're talkative, and others, they're just active. They've lost a loved one. They're the ones calling people, notifying them. They want to be the ones planning the burial. They want to be the ones saying the caps should not be there. They want to be the ones planning about the committees. And have seen people asking, hey, this person, they've lost a loved one. No, but they're in grief. That's a sign that this person is not okay. You know, they're the ones calling and booking the venue for the meeting and saying, no, you will not be the chairman, you will be the treasurer. Like, different people grieve in different ways. We also now, that's one, of course, it comes with its issues and pain, because when someone is numb, they are detached. When someone is talkative, they are trying to preoccupy with other things. They are feeding their grief emotions. Other than, I think of not having a dad, let me talk about this. Let me attack, or let me address these people. Let me share this. Other than, you know, there is that moment. And it's still okay. When someone is busy doing, you know, active physically, they are active. They are all over. They're the ones who want to go to the morgue, to go to the coffin, to go all over. You're not going to leave me anywhere. This is how they're dealing with it. Now comes the end of it all. When they are left alone, and they start now realizing, wait a minute, I never got time to grieve. I was busy involved. I was numb all through. I see clients who will tell you, at not even a drop of tear, you know. And you get to know this person was so numb. Like, they could just see. In fact, there is one, if you can quote, you know, I was just praying, I wish I'm able to just cry, just a drop of tear, the way I'm seeing other people crying, and I'm not, because the person is so detached. Remember, this is loss, unconscious, conscious, all over. You've lost a part of you. Now it comes, of course, to affect people later, because how are you able to deal with it? But as we are saying, it's a stage. There comes denial, then after the denial comes the anger. Anger is full of bitterness. And bitterness is projected to other people. So you will find scenario where there is death that has occurred, and other than concentrating on the loss, we are concentrating on those who, quote unquote, made it occur. We will blame the day, the person who scheduled the meeting. If someone died in hospital, we're going to blame the hospital, the doctors, the nurses. everyone around it. If it's a road accident, you're going to blame the driver,
the government,
the Ministry of Roads, everyone around it. Yeah, we're going to blame even the day. We were okay on something.
Yeah.
You know, how comes we just had to wake up on a Monday morning?
Monday
how? So what this does again, anchor, it's to divert. You know, you're already in a void, but because still you are not in terms with what you're going through, you need to look for something else. It's good when someone is so bitter and so angry when they've lost a loved one, to get to know it's okay and it's normal. First, it's okay and it's normal. You're going through the stages of grief. It's okay to feel that way. It's okay to blame everyone. It's okay to even point hands, you know. It's definitely not okay when you get physical. And that's why we are creating this awareness, so that when you are this bitter and you want to strike a fight with that driver, you are the cause. You are taken back and realize, wait a minute, this is part of grief, and if this is how I'm grieving my dad, I'm grieving my son, my daughter, it's still okay. You know, it's still okay. So people are very bitter. They want to pass the blame to other people. The third stage is the bargaining. Now, as it per this time, you're already done with the denial. You are now not bitter, still bitter, but not bitter. But now you are at a point, fine, let's assume it's the case that dad is normal. God, you just had to take my dad. So people again now go the other way to start to bargain. In bargain comes, I wish we were extended just one more month. I wish we had an extra day. You find during this stage of bargaining, people refer back to unfinished business. You know, if he was allowed just only 1 year to serve us as our general, I'm sure there is so much that we could have achieved as a nation. I listened to, you know, our president say, if I'm given a chance, I would still appoint him. And as a psychologist, I just said, oh, our dear president, you are actually in grief. You are bargaining. Of course, there is no chance that is going to come. The general is gone. So a chance is not going to come. But you see now being in that, you know, given a chance, I would have bought a car for my mom that I promised. Given a chance, I would have built a house for my dad. Given a chance, I would have done things differently. So you are already now at a point where you are bargaining. So bargaining, just, it's like to negotiate, but now you are negotiating with your conscience, you know, like the unfinished business, the promises. And also comes now, who will be paying school fees for this person if maybe the person has left behind, you know, some school going kids. Who will be doing the things that they've been doing? So what this does, it tries to fill in the void of life continuity. And until that is done, you are not able to move, because you are talking of losing someone who is very, very important to you, losing your kid. Now, who will be putting on your uniforms? And the way you are a very bright kid, you know, I wish you are even allowed to get to class 8, to form 4. I wish you are even allowed to just complete your university. And I see what future ahead for you. Yes, so this stage comes with wanting to fill in the void. So you're already lost in your loss, but still, you know, there is things, because definitely when we've lost someone who had a full life, so there is a stop of what they've been doing, and not just stop of themselves, but also stop of others, you know, that they've been relating with them. Even for the teachers, if we are referring to students, for lecturers and all that, and you know, we've experienced a lot of things. Even the KU students, may they continue resting in peace, and also even other students who have perished in road accidents, may they all continue resting in peace. So you can imagine what goes through the parents and the relatives, because your life is not your life alone, Richie. You have your life, yes, you as a person, but you have your kids, you have your parents, everyone relates to you differently. So what stops, and this is the attachment you're talking about, is every intertwined, do we say string, to each and every person. So how do they move to the next level? So that's now the bargaining stage. And after bargaining comes now the depression stage. The depression stage, this is a stage where now someone is getting in terms with what is happening. And please remember, as I said, we are yet to come up that this is the order. You can be in bargaining stage today and tomorrow you go back to denial. So depression stage now, this is where people even stop talking. And just, it's good to note, depression stage, when we are looking at stages of grief, mainly comes even way after the burial. Before, we have all this denial. At time, denial can go until the funeral day. Then the bargaining, and bargaining most of the time, if you are lucky to be in that stage before, it will also come with even bargaining of, no, I can't put on this suit, or I'm going to dress in the most, expensive, or, to do things to even compensate. Also, anger comes in the midst, but most of the time we've seen depression comes way after. And why way after? Just like it sounds, is because everyone now lives. The nation, we are all about general. Now we focus on something else. We get a new appointment. Now again, we are busy on social media, scrutinizing this new appointee, and I don't know, getting to know they are from where, their history. Before you know it, life has moved on. And now that's when it all kicks. And you start realizing, wait a minute, it was actually my loss. The rest do a support system. We've seen, even in homestead, people will go their politicians, I'll take care of you, your education, I don't know what. Promises, by the way, that we keep on telling people, if you must promise and deliver there and then. Please don't say, once I go back to Nairobi, I will do this. No, just do it there.
Do it now.
Other than you go back to give 20,000, you can give that 200 bob you have, because what happened is we've made it a formality. When you're given that mic, you are talking of how you're going to be there for this family or for the people who have been left. But it's a formality, one speaker after the other. Then after you come back, that's it. It's done. So this is where depression kicks in, because now the family is left. For instance, let's look at just a family setup. You are now left to go back to the same house you've been living with your parent, with your kid, and now without them. And not without them because they're going to come back. It's without them because they're gone. So it kicks with, how do you come in terms with reality? From the time of death, the announcement, and the time of funeral, you have people around you. We are so kind. That's something about Africans. We are always there for each other. But immediately after the funeral, you start now filling in the gap. Because these are the days they were living and saying, I'll be with you tomorrow. I'll come back tomorrow. Let's meet at the meeting. I'll be there. But now after the funeral, most of them will say, may God be with you, let's keep in touch. There is also expectation that work is done. Remember, it's your loss. The rest do are there as your support system. So comes in the depression stage, and this is the most critical stage. Most clients who come because of prolonged grief disorder, they get stuck at this stage. Very much possible. One thing we've said is, doesn't have to go by there for 12 months. Have only said the criteria to diagnose, you need to have at least lasted for 12 good months, but you can be in this process for the longest. We've seen kids grow to come to therapy in their 30s, their 40s, they're still grieving their parents they lost when they were kids. People get stuck. We only diagnose it as a disorder when there is complicated. When now they are actions to harm self or others. And you know, when you're harming yourself means even there is functionality, like you can't go to work. Now this is terrible depression.
Yeah.
And when we find out that this terrible depression is as a result of loss that you encountered.
Yeah.
So this is the stage where now Richie people go back to the house and they start asking themselves what to do with that seat where our dad, our mom used to
sit. Yeah.
What do we do with his clothes?
Yes.
I mean, this person has been with you all through. What do we do with his shoes?
Where should we take them?
We have photos around. What do we do?
Do we break them, burn them?
Exactly.
Yeah, give them out. Yeah.
You know, and now this is the part, even as I got to the main topic for this, our genre, is there anything that has stopped in your life, in your personal life, because we lost the genre?
No.
That's the question we should be asking ourselves before we go in to attack the son. If the same house you were before Sunday incidents, you are still going there and nothing has changed. You've not moved a cup, neither a glass.
Yes.
You've not deleted a contact from your phone book. Get to know you are actually not in his shoes. The best you can do is, if you are religious, pray for him or watch. Do not judge. You can imagine Joel will have a hard time to delete the dad's number. Will have a hard time to just go through the memories. If you can flip your phone book and nothing you are seeing, you and Gendro, just, it's okay, he served us, it's okay to grieve, but let's not take it to his family. We are not grieving the same attachment or the same loss. It's the same person but different attachment, different relationships. This is a family where they'll have to go and say, no, this toy Guka bought you, or my dad did this. We are talking of a parent. I don't know why the nation, we are really forcing Joel to grieve the dad as a military officer. That's what we are doing. We want it to be transactional. That's why we are all complaining, because we feel, why is he excess?
Why is he talking too much?
Why do we want him to be like us? And we've not lost our dad in this. It's him who has lost the dad.
We don't even know how he's feeling.
We do. You can't even imagine how he's feeling, Rich. We just can't, you know. We just can't. And the best thing is to just allow them. Why? Is because when I refer to depression is when it kicks home very hard. Because those people, they've now moved on. The next time they call, they will call to get distractors for you. Hi Richie, can we go out for holiday? Hi, can we go out for coffee? In rare occasion, after the burial, you will find someone calling and asking, since the burial, since the funeral day, how are you feeling? Say it's taboo, we can talk about the dead, we can talk about the dead, we can talk about the deceased, we can't even remind them, they will start crying. But says who? That they're just crying because you've reminded them. It's just the pain they are carrying. Actually, you become their healer when you are there for them. So depression also comes in when the family, they are all together. Things start coming in because someone wants to hold on.
Yes.
I do not want my dad profile picture to be removed. Another person, their way of healing is not wanting to see. So depression stage is where even, and by the way, I'm calling it depression stage in grief stage, stages of grief. This is not the depression that will come and diagnosed for depression, So in this stage is where you also agree, and this is what we encourage even our clients, agree as a family. Now that we've lost our dad, how are you feeling about it? First, have very raw conversation, and also say, what would you like to do to cope with the loss? If someone says, I do not want to visit the grave, I do not want to see his photos, it's okay. Please don't force your values on them. If another one says, I want to hold on his clothes, I want to hold, it's still okay. Like putting very strict and straight boundaries. Some other people might say, for me, the way I want to grieve my husband is very different. I've seen scenario where some people, they want to go and maybe, you know, put up a nice place at the grave. but others feel it's still not yet time. You guys, it's like you are waiting for this to happen. You know, do you know it's still okay to allow those who want to go ahead and do it? And you understand it's okay. You say, I'll not be there during the, you know, unveiling of the tomb, and it's still okay until the time that you feel you are okay. Because people grieve in a very different way. You can imagine being in a house where someone wants to hold on their shoes, on the clothes they had, and another person do not want anything to do with it. So first depression comes even with that distraction and disruption as a family system, because you've lost one of you. You will never be a full unit again. Then how to move on from there? What do we expect? You lost your firstborn, but still have your secondborn and thirdborn and fourthborn.
And you can still have others.
And you can have others. We are always in to try and replace the lost figure. It's your dad, but your mom is there. And you wonder, how is my mom coming in?
So how many brothers did your dad have?
How many? So at least now
so
you have
uncles.
You
are they
okay
good
now.
to you?
You're just okay. You know, like you want to come in, or you are so young. The baby was just 2 months, you know. In fact, you are lucky. Imagine if you lost that baby at 18 years. Surely,
imagine you can't even get married again if you lost your spouses.
What are we doing? Is it at that time? We are crushing them. One thing about loss, until you've experienced and until you are there, Richie, some of these things you may not understand. Of course, depression. People get stuck there. It takes time.
Depression,
Depression stage in grief, it takes time. Here is where, if you really want to pray for them, first inquire from them. If you must read a Bible verse, please inquire. Where are you drawing your strength at this time? When they say, I'm praying, I'm reading Bible or Quran, that's a pass, you go ahead. Please don't start talking about God to someone who has just lost their loved one without their consent. At this stage, someone is so mad about this God.
Even God,
They're asking, how selfish is this God who takes my only son, my only daughter? How selfish is this God who takes my dad just when we need him most? How selfish is this God who takes my mom when she was about to bring forth to another life? How selfish? How could he? Didn't we pray to that God? And it brings a lot of question marks. This is something we are allowed to share for public without giving the identifiers. And this I keep on saying, where once we encountered a client who the first thing she asked during a therapy session is, and by the way, do you know Job? And therapist thought maybe the client is confusing me with someone that she know who knows Job. And he said, no, actually the Job I know is like this and like that. Okay. And now as they were going on, she still mentioned, do you think Job is a human being? And now, of course, it became a thing, a pain in therapy. And now what we learned was the client, when she lost her only daughter, and the church people went to pray for them, they were telling her, but you see, even the Job lost everything. So if I can edit it, that, what are you telling this person? You are minimizing their loss by comparing. When someone has lost their loved one, this is not the time to start talking about how you lost your dad, or how you lost your kid, how you lost your mother. You are allowed, you are given time to grieve. Your loss is not their loss. Just be there for them, because we are very fast to give words of encouragement from our loss. But remember, you lost yours 30 years ago, or even 2 months ago. This is a fresh one. Can we just allow them to be? You know, of course, I know there is the saying of there is comfort in familiarity. There isn't none of it when it comes to loss and grief. So still in depression stage, there is no reason. There is a reason. I was a victim before. And we've all fallen victim that because we do not know the answer to give this person, we really want to go ahead and give them the answer to why they've lost someone. And so how we justify is there is a reason.
There's always a reason for
if indeed there is a reason, why don't you mention the reason?
Yeah, give me that reason.
You know?
Yeah.
God knows why. Why don't you seem to be knowing
the why.
The why. Why don't you say why you've lost your son so that you can go to America? I mean, come up with the reason. You know the way people will come. There is no reason if you can't put a name on it. Rechi, I'll tell you for sure, there is no any reason as to why someone loses their loved one.
Yeah.
There is no any reason you can give to that.
Whatsoever.
The only attempted reason for Christians is Jesus had to die for our sins.
Yeah, that was a reason enough.
And no any other that is known. Please, let's not give death that credit that for death to occur there must be a reason.
Must be, yeah.
You know, there is nowhere that you had your calendar of life that your life was to end at this time. Because again, we are so fast. You know, when your life comes to an end, like you are just fine, what are you telling this person? What are you telling Joel? That actually it was written that the dad had to die. It's okay, you can have all this misconception, but keep it. Your faith, my faith, we might all be Christian, but very different. How we believe and our values very different. You keep them off. So first, there is no reason. It can never be well. It is well.
So is depression the last stage?
No, the last stage is acceptance. And why I'm not going to acceptance is because acceptance is not self-inflicted or anything. You just achieve that acceptance. So depression is where all these things they are fighting with them, but acceptance just takes place, and there is no healing in loss and grief. I've seen clients coming and asking, what can you do so that I heal? I'm feeling like my world, you know,
falling apart. Yeah.
You don't heal, you learn how to live with the loss. The fifth stage is acceptance, and acceptance brings about coping mechanism. Now that your mom is not there, I will be paying your school fees, you know, just to come in, and there is continuity. Remember the void we talked about? So acceptance also comes with being able. It's good for people to know there is no complete, like now you've completely processed loss. Because when I say acceptance is being able to comfortably talk about someone you've lost without shedding tears, and someone breaks down and they feel you may have not healed. No. You will always cry at the thought of them, at the mention of them, and at the moment, but doesn't have to be always the case. You know, doesn't have to be always the case. But before you heal, first, it's good to note, you will keep on seeing people who resemble the person who died. If it's the jacket, you will keep on seeing
the jacket.
The jacket. So if you've lost your loved one and you're in this, for you to know you are still in the stage of grief, you will still keep on seeing them around the street. And by seeing them, I mean quote unquote, people who look alike.
Like the person.
Because that's what is already in your mind and in your life. You will see clothes like they were putting on. You will see even ID. Someone was telling me before they never used to notice that even what they work, they deal with IDs. But since they lost their loved ones, each and every time a client came in, they were checking the ID. It was so painful for them to see someone who was born the same year as their mom. They would always be like, no, this would be my mom today, you know. You keep on seeing those people. You keep on visualizing them. Ideas, everything, and you also keep on feeling like they're missing out. When there is a big event happening, you'll always be like, my dad could have witnessed, my son could have been here. Now those are signs that you are still there. You are not stuck, not in depressive stage, but you are still processing, but you are still there in grief. You will still keep on, of course, missing them on such events, thinking about them. Like people are busy in a wedding and you're thinking, my dad would be here, how did he, you know, or my son, my daughter. Also comes with what we do to support. And it's have explained about it can never be well. The it is well, it's a phrase that is normally misused. don't just be there for the person. Let them know, I'm here for you. Let me know what I can do for you. If you are able to take conversation further, talk about the person they've lost. In fact, what we are supposed to be asking Joy right now is, how does it feel? Now that's the positive conversation. Allow them to express all their emotions, but going to judge, you are actually making them suppress all their emotions.
Okay, well, as we wind up, recently a friend of mine lost a mom, and I went numb, Mimi, because I didn't know what to tell her. I didn't know how to call her. I didn't know, I just didn't know how to go about it. And at some point I was feeling guilty, because even I had to push myself to go see her. How is am I normal? Okay, now that I am not the victim,
yes,
but am I okay as a friend? Because you know, I was telling her I didn't even know how to call, and she was like, even if you could have called and just kept quiet, I'd have been okay. But you see, even that calling I wasn't able to.
That means you're very empathetic, and you shared their loss. It's very different, by the way, to share loss and to be there for someone. It's always good for people to know when a colleague, let me use our work environment, when a colleague loses a loved one, the rest will be there because they are, one of them, they've lost their loved one. That time they're there to support. But when the same colleagues, they actually lose one of them, they'll all go now. You know, now those are two different scenarios. When you share the loss, you feel, you sense, you've just started by you are numb. That's enough. You shared your friend's loss. You don't have to have known the person, but it's your relationship between you and your friend. You know, at time, and that's why we say family is not just blood, it's our attachment. You can be so attached to someone, and we've seen this happening, that other people are wondering, Richie, they are not even related, but she's crying more than
the one who is related to,
because of the attachment you have to the person who's going through this. So there is no mistake by being empathetic and by sharing the loss. Yes, and what you did is the best thing, by letting that person know. The reason why I was not able to reach out is because I shared your loss. And I felt it, and actually I didn't even know how to reach out and what to tell you. And share if genuinely you felt the loss of that person, because that means you are empathetic. The other way is when now you are the support. Someone has lost, yes, you are not feeling anything, like you will still sleep well, you are not numb, you are okay. Only when you're thinking about this person, it will distract you. But when you receive another call of excitement, you know, I want to believe in such a scenario. If someone called you, just could have told, I've just received some bad news of my friend who has lost. That means you've shared. That's why you are even finding time and fighting it okay to share with the next caller. But if you've received the news, you felt bad, the next caller, you are laughing, you know. It's still okay. We are human, Richie. It's still okay. You don't have to go through grief for everyone around you who loses their loved one, but at least know your position and your boundaries so well. When you are into support and when you share the loss, just it's still okay, because this is the person. I'm here for you, but let them know also I'm weak. Let them not expect much from you, and it's still okay even if they fail to understand you as at per that moment, because you get to understand yourself better. But just be there for them. If you're offering the support, please stop calling the person to ask where are people meeting and all that. If anything, you can call the person, is there anyone I can reach out to in your family for more plans and all. You know, you're already telling me, I already moved on, I'm already thinking, you people, you've not formed a WhatsApp group or a meeting committee and all that. No, some people, they just want to be stuck there. But you can offer support. Do you have a WhatsApp group, or can I create one? Do you have, are there anywhere people are meeting, or can I come up? You know, can we just, do you have another group? Just inquire such, but not to inquire as if now, after they've lost their loved one, the next thing they ought to have known where people are meeting the same minute, and now the call is nimesikia, so how can you, where are people meeting? Surely they've not even had time to even transfer maybe the body from the scene to the morgue, you know. But just be there for them. we like talking a lot during this time because we feel we are not heard or we are not noticed when we are not talking. Just being there, our presence by the way is the most important. By the way, it's okay to do M-Pesa, but to think if everyone was to M-Pesa, how would that weight be? Even with millions and millions of money, how would that weight be for the person? Like everyone, yes, sent money and good money, but now I have money and I need to bury my loved one. I feel this is the stage where people need to connect, the emotional connection, which is not transactional. It's not about the M-Pesa. It's still okay. It's good to do the M-Pesa, but connect with them. If indeed this is someone you value, someone close to you, be there for them. Notify them, I'm here for you. Let me know what I can do for you. Also try to engage them. And if you are one going through this, get to know closure is normally achieved before the burial. I know it's very hard to engage. Some people, they distance, they detach, they do not want to. But if you're their support system, encourage them. Let them make even the decision of the choice of clothes the deceased is going to put on, the flowers, the coffin. Like, just be there. If it's about taking them to morgue, encourage them. Let them make as many visits as possible. There is healing that comes in between the time of passing on and the burial. If someone is engaged, and please note, not engaged in planning, not engaged in knowing where visitors will be sleeping and all that. No, engaged in loss and engaged in this particular person. If they say they want to visit the morgue each and every day, please be there for them. If they say they want thrice a day, it's okay. Imagine it's not going to last for long. Let them engage in making decision over them, because that helps in closure. Closure is very important, and most of complicated grief cases is where closure was never there. And a good example of closure is post-mortem. If you are able to do post-mortem, make a decision. When someone has lost their loved one, this is the least they want to hear of. In fact, the victim, or rather now the people close to the deceased, they just say, we want to bury, that's final. But way later they come back, and one of the regrets Rachel have seen on complicated grief is, I wish we did a post-mortem, because it brings along some closure. So at time, there is a way the family system, we say, if the husband or the wife, they've said they do not want, it's still okay. But please note, they are actually not in their normal senses. You can encourage them, you can talk to them, you can let them know that this post-mortem will help for their closure. Because we get, they say, I'm okay with them dying, but at least can I just get to know the reason? Tell me, if that post-mortem was done, they would at least have known the reason. We've seen scenario where people will come years later and they are saying, is there anything that can be done? Of course, as we are not experts for that to know if years later there is, but what we know is post-mortem by the brings along closure. And it's very, very, especially in cases where death is sudden and there is no any known cause, it's always good, and we encourage people to go for post-mortem. And why we encourage people to go for post-mortem? Because 90% they still live with regrets.
Oh wow. I think the loss topic is quite wide, because I also had more questions I'd really love to ask, but I think we can save us that for our next episode, as you can, because I think it's something that actually people out there want to hear. You know, you've mentioned si utazaa mwingine tu, si uko na anko yako, si uko na aunti yako, wewe hata ujui shida ni nini. Mimi najua rafiki yangu aliachwa mpaka akaachwa na watu wao. Ama nyinyi mko sawa, nyinyi mko watatu, mimi niliachwa na mama yangu nikiwa peke yangu. So I have so many questions that I'd really love to ask. So I think we can do this in our next video, because I feel we haven't tackled so much that people would really want to know. Otherwise, thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for taking us through the episode of loss, and I'm so sure many people out there, they have learned from this particular episode. Even as we go to the next one to continue, I am so sure so many people will learn, so many people. So thank you so much for coming.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so thank you so much, guys. If you haven't subscribed to Allsmiles Therapy YouTube channel, please do subscribe, leave a comment down there, leave a like, share. You can also leave a comment and tell us which topic do you want us to discuss. What is that thing that you've always wanted to hear? Trust me, we are going to create time to answer you. Cindo?
Yes, we'll do that.
Yeah, we're going to create time to answer you. And if you're out there, you feel like you need a therapist so bad, or a friend of yours needs therapy, or your parent or your brother or your sister, Allsmiles Therapy Center is the place to be. Also, they have a rehabilitation center. If you want those services, please kindly contact. See you in our next episode. Bye.
Do you need somebody? A shoulder you can lean